white
I'm
line.
not even in the middle of the highway,
Ma'am,
sir.
yes,
Come
ma'am.
on. And then I didn't
Just relax. Stop resisting statements. Listen, do you understand? No.
The flashing blue lights cut through the darkness of the highway. They reflected off the rear-view mirror of the silver sedan. Inside the vehicle, the atmosphere shifted instantly from routine travel to high-stakes tension. A woman named Ashley sat behind the wheel. She was alone in the car. Her hands gripped the steering wheel as the patrol car stopped behind her. She watched the officers approach. Her mind raced with the implications of the stop. She was 31 years old. She had a criminal record. She had been released from prison in 2017. Every interaction with law enforcement carried the weight of her past. She rolled down the window. The cool night air rushed in. It mixed with the scents already permeating the vehicle. The officer approached the driver's side. He shone his flashlight into the cabin. The beam cut across her face. She immediately recoiled from the brightness. "Can you please not shine that light in my face?" she asked. Her voice was sharp. It was defensive. "It's right there at your..." "What's his name at?" The officer denied aiming it at her eyes. He stated he was looking at her chest area. This initial friction set the tone for the entire encounter. There was no good evening. There was no casual exchange. The dynamic was adversarial from the first second. The officer introduced himself. He explained the reason for the stop. He claimed she was driving in the middle of the highway. He noted she failed to maintain her lane. He mentioned she sped up without signaling. He added that her tag light was out. Ashley disputed the claims immediately. She denied being in the middle of the road. She insisted she used her signal. "I'll watch the whole transaction," she said. She meant she would review the footage. She was confident in her driving. But traffic stops rarely hinge solely on the initial violation. They are investigative tools. The officer stood by the window. He smelled something distinct. It was a strong odor of marijuana. It was mixed with a heavy cover-up scent. This olfactory evidence changed the nature of the stop. It shifted from a traffic violation to a narcotics investigation. Under the law, the odor of marijuana provides probable cause. It allows officers to search a vehicle without a warrant. This is known as the automobile exception or the Carroll doctrine. The officer asked for her license. Ashley did not have it. She told him to run the tag. "This my baby dad car," she explained. She did not have the registration either. She expressed frustration. "Y'all always pulling me for nothing," she said. This statement revealed her fatigue with policing. It hinted at prior negative interactions. The officer returned to his cruiser. He ran the vehicle's information. He checked her status. He confirmed the car belonged to someone else. But that did not absolve her of responsibility. As the driver, she was in control of the vehicle. She was responsible for its contents. This is the legal concept of constructive possession. You do not need to own the car to possess the drugs inside it. The officer returned to the sedan. He had made a decision. He wanted her out of the vehicle. He opened the driver's door. "You could just slide out real quick for me," he said. He intended to speak with her at the rear of the car. Ashley refused. "Why you in my car?" she demanded. She questioned his authority to open her door. She questioned his use of the flashlight. "Why you shine the light all of my stuff?" she asked. She cited a legal concept she thought applied. It's called the reasonable expectation of privacy. She stated. She argued there was a lesser expectation inside a vehicle. She was partially correct on the theory but wrong on the application. The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches. However, the Supreme Court has ruled specifically on this exact scenario. The case is Pennsylvania v. Mimms, decided in 1977. It established a clear rule. An officer may order a driver out of a vehicle during a lawful traffic stop. They do not need reasonable suspicion of another crime. They do not need probable cause for a search. The justification is officer safety. The intrusion on the driver's liberty is considered de minimis. The officer cited this case directly. "There's a thing called Pennsylvania v. Mimms," he told her. If the police tell you to step out, you need to step out. Ashley did not comply. She remained seated. She argued that she had cleaned the car. She denied the smell of marijuana. I don't have to step out this car. She insisted. She tried to call the car's owner. I'm gonna call my baby daddy, she said. She wanted the owner to consent to a search. She believed his consent was required. Y'all cannot search this man's car without his success, she argued. This was a misunderstanding of the law. The driver of a vehicle has the authority to consent. More importantly, probable cause overrides the need for consent entirely. If an officer smells drugs, they do not need permission. They do not need a warrant. They have the legal authority to search immediately. The standoff continued. The officer repeated his command. Step out of the car. He warned her of the consequences. You will go to jail for resisting, he said. He gave her a choice. She could exit willingly, or they would pull her out. Ashley remained defiant. She explained her personal stress. My sister been missing for 24 hours, she said. I'm trying to go home to my kids. Her distress was palpable. Her fear was real. But legal procedures rarely pause for personal crises. The officer reached in. He grabbed her arm. The physical escalation began. You don't have to grab me, she shouted. She struggled against his grip. As she was pulled from the car, she made a critical error. She reached back. She grabbed a green bag and her food. She tried to take them with her. I can take my stuff because y'all not planting nothing on me, she declared. She accused them of corruption before they found anything. This action was suspicious. Innocent drivers rarely grab specific bags during an extraction. It signaled attachment to the item. It signaled knowledge of its contents. The officers stopped her. They forced her to leave the bags in the car. Everything stays in the car, the officer ordered. She resisted the physical control. Stop resisting, the officer commanded. I didn't even do anything, she pleaded. They moved her to the back of the vehicle. She was detained. She was not yet under arrest, but she was not free to leave. The officers turned their attention to the car. They began the search. They focused on the green bag she had tried to remove. Inside, they found exactly what they expected. There was a green leafy substance. There appeared to be a joint. The odor was confirmed by the physical evidence. But the search did not stop there. The law allows a thorough search of the entire vehicle. They checked the center console. They checked the other bags. In the back seat, Officer Russ found a gray bag. He looked inside. He saw a white, rock-like substance. Yeah, it looked like something like white in there, he said. The tension spiked. White rocks usually mean crack cocaine or methamphetamine. Possession of those substances carries heavy felony charges. Officer Boyd examined it closely. He held it up. He scrutinized the texture. He realized it was not a drug. No, that's a rock, he admitted. Yeah, it's just a rock. It was a moment of absurdity in a serious situation. It showed the officers were looking for threats. It also showed they were capable of admitting when an item was benign. They did not try to manufacture a charge from a stone. However, the search yielded something far more serious than the rock. In the center console, they found a magazine. It was loaded with ammunition. There was no gun found, just the bullets. For most citizens, this is lawful. For Ashley, it was a catastrophe. She was a convicted felon. Under federal law, 18U, Dol. C. 922 gum. It is illegal for a felon to possess firearms or ammunition. State laws mirror this prohibition. The mere presence of the bullets in the car she was driving created a felony liability. Constructive possession applied here again. The ammo was within her reach. She was the sole occupant. The law infers she had knowledge and control of the items in the console. Officer Boyd returned to Ashley. He read her rights. You have the right to remain silent, he began. He delivered the Miranda warning. Ashley acknowledged she understood. She agreed to speak. This is often where legal defenses crumble. A suspect who speaks locks themselves into a story. Ashley claimed ignorance. "I don't know exactly what was in the car," she said. She claimed she had just picked it up. She tried to distance herself from the contents. "I don't know what was in the car," she repeated. But the officer countered with her behavior. He pointed out her attempt to grab the specific green bag. "You grabbed the green bag in that black bag," he noted. Ashley offered an explanation. She said the owner's friend left something in the car. He said bro left something in the car. She recounted. She claimed the owner told her, "Don't worry about it, just take it to him." This admission was damaging. It proved she knew she was transporting something illicit, even if she didn't know the exact nature of the item. She practiced willful blindness. In the eyes of the law, deliberately avoiding knowledge of a crime while facilitating it is the same as knowing. She was transporting a package she suspected was illegal. She was doing a favor that would cost her freedom. The officer dismantled her defense logic. "You're driving around something that doesn't belong to you, as you're claiming that you have no know of," he said. He pointed out the contradiction. If she didn't know what it was, why did she grab it? Why would you just grab it? He asked. "Scared," she replied. "I panic." Panic is a human response. It is not a legal defense. Her panic led her to reach for the evidence. That action tied her to the contraband. It proved a link between the suspect and the prohibited item. It turned a constructive possession case into a stronger circumstantial case. The reality of the situation set in. The officer listed the potential charges. Convicted felon, possession of ammo by a convicted felon, he stated. He mentioned the marijuana. Ashley realized the baby daddy excuse would not work. "How can I get in trouble for his stuff in his car?" she asked. It is a common question. The public often misunderstands possession laws. They believe ownership is required for guilt. It is not. Control is the standard. If you drive the car, you control the cabin. If you control the cabin, you possess the items inside it, unless you can prove otherwise. Being the sole occupant makes that proof incredibly difficult. Ashley mentioned her prison time again. "I've been in prison for what?" she said. It was some dumb stuff. She was 31. She had spent her early 20s incarcerated. She was trying to avoid going back. "I don't want to go to down for nobody else stuff," she cried. "I got 3 kids." The impact of the arrest rippled beyond the highway. 3 children would potentially lose their mother again. A missing sister would have one less family member looking for her. The cycle of incarceration threatened to consume another few years of her life. The system operates on statutes, not sympathies. The presence of the ammo and drugs mandated the arrest. The officers were professional but firm. They did not yell. They did not use excessive force after the extraction. They explained the legal reasoning. Officer Boyd took the time to debate the law with her. He explained Mimms. He explained plain view doctrine. He explained constructive possession. He offered her a chance to be heard. "So go, you start first," he had said. He allowed her to tell her side, but her side was legally insufficient. Her narrative was one of bad luck and poor choices. His narrative was one of evidence and statute violations. The cover-up scent was a critical detail. The officers noted it early. Attempted cover-up scent. The report would likely say, it implies consciousness of guilt. People do not spray heavy air fresheners unless they are hiding an odor. This undermined her claim that she didn't know the drugs were there. If she didn't know, why mask the smell? The pieces of the puzzle fit together to form a clear picture of possession. The green bag, the cover-up spray, the refusal to exit, the attempt to retrieve the bag, the admission of transporting a package, all pointed to guilty knowledge. The discovery of the ammo added a layer of severity. Marijuana charges are often misdemeanors. Felon in possession of ammunition is a felony. It carries significant prison time. It triggers probation or parole violations. It can lead to federal indictments. A simple favor for a baby daddy became a life-altering event. This highlights the danger of operating borrowed vehicles. It highlights the risk of associating with individuals who leave contraband in cars. For a convicted felon, the margin for error is zero. They cannot be around guns. They cannot be around bullets. They cannot be around drugs. Driving a car that acts as a storage locker for these items is a direct path back to prison. The interaction also showcased the importance of compliance. Had Ashley stepped out of the car immediately, the outcome might have been the same regarding the arrest. The drugs were already smelled. The search was inevitable, but the resisting charge would have been avoided. The physical altercation would have been avoided. The stress of the extraction would have been minimized. Her refusal to exit escalated the situation. It forced the officers to use physical control. It turned a verbal direction into a physical conflict. Pennsylvania v. Mimms is a bright line rule. There is no wiggle room. When an officer says get out, the lawful response is to get out. Arguing inside the vehicle never prevents the exit. It only delays it and adds charges. The officer's handling of the rock demonstrated the importance of verification. Field tests and visual inspections prevent false charges. In some cases, officers might have arrested her for crack cocaine based on a quick glance. These officers took the time to check. They realized it was a stone. They threw it back. This preserved the integrity of the actual evidence. It prevented an unjust charge while securing the legitimate ones. It showed a distinction between enforcing the law and fabricating crime. As Ashley was placed in the patrol car, the finality of the event settled in. The car would be towed or released. The evidence would be bagged. The bullets would be logged. The green bag would be weighed. Her statement about bro left something would be included in the police report. It would be used to prove she knowingly transported the items. Her defense attorney would have a difficult task. They would have to argue she had no knowledge of the items she tried to grab. They would have to argue she didn't smell the odor she tried to cover up. The prosecution would have the body camera footage. They would have the audio of her admissions. They would have the visual of her resistance. The broader impact of such cases is significant. It reflects the ongoing tension between privacy and policing. Citizens feel harassed by minor stops. Officers feel endangered by non-compliant subjects. The courts have sided with officer safety in Mimms. They have sided with probable cause in Carroll. The balance of power on the side of the road is heavily tilted toward law enforcement. Knowledge of these laws is the only protection a driver has. Knowing that it's not my car is not a valid defense could save someone from making the same mistake. Knowing that refusing to exit is a crime could prevent a physical struggle. Ashley's story is a cautionary tale. It is a lesson in constructive possession. It is a lesson in the permanence of a criminal record. Once a felon, the rights to possess certain items disappear. The responsibility to vet one's surroundings increases. Ignorance is not a shield. Panic is not a pardon. The law demands accountability for what is within your reach. As the patrol car drove away toward the jail, Ashley was left with the consequences of a drive she thought would be routine. She was left with the reality that in the eyes of the law, she was not just a driver. She was the possessor of everything the light touched. The legal process would now take over. There would be a bond hearing. There would be a probable cause hearing. The prosecutor would review the felon status. They would check the date of her last release. They would check if she was on probation. If she was, this stop could revoke her freedom regardless of the new charges. The system is a web. Once caught in it, escaping is difficult. Each movement, each new charge, tightens the strands. For Ashley, a broken tag light and a drift across a lane line were the vibrations that alerted the spider. The marijuana and the bullets were the venom. The footage of this stop serves as an educational tool. It shows the speed at which freedom can be lost. It shows the specific phrases that officers use to build a case. Stop resisting. Step out. Plain view. It shows the futility of arguing constitutional law on the side of a highway. The courtroom is the place for arguments. The roadside is the place for compliance. Ashley tried to litigate her case from the driver's seat. She lost. The verdict was delivered not by a judge, but by the click of handcuffs. The sentence began not in a prison cell, but in the back of a squad car, while the blue lights continued to spin in the silence of the night. The community impact of these arrests is often debated. Does arresting a woman for marijuana and a magazine make the streets safer? Or does it destabilize a family and perpetuate a cycle of poverty and incarceration? The law does not ask these questions. The statute only asks if the items were present. They were. The statute asks if the person was a felon. She was. The enforcement was mechanically correct. The social cost is a separate calculation, one that is not made on the side of the road. Ultimately, the incident at the speedway boils down to choices and consequences. The choice to drive a car with a tag light out. The choice to carry contraband. The choice to argue rather than comply. The choice to reach for a bag instead of showing empty hands. Each choice stripped away a layer of defense. Each choice moved Ashley closer to the inevitable conclusion. The officers did their job. They found the drugs. They found the prohibited ammo. They enforced the court's rulings. The system functioned as designed. Whether that design serves justice or merely law is the question that lingers long after the video ends. The rock was just a rock, but the bullets were real, and the consequences for Ashley would be just as tangible.